there everybody, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Kingdom Core Class Wave 3, Soundwave and Dracodon. The final figures I believe we're going to be seeing for Core Class out of the War for Cybertron line, and I really hope this is a line that we can see continue into next year, and of course the year after, as I really find these figures incredibly enjoyable. Now I'm doing a double review here, as Dracodon is essentially the exact same figure that we got as part of the first wave of Core Class, that being Vertebrake. It is merely this time just cast out of a very garish looking radioactive green, and to be honest, if you weren't a fan of this particular figure, then this is by far going to be an easy miss. I have no idea as to why they've packed this figure into this wave, as they could have given us another character such as a Core Class Shockwave, which I'm sure many collectors would have been going absolutely bonkers for, but the detail is still pretty decent. You can see there for the head, got some nice gold for the crest. The sculpt work is very nice for this figure, I've got to be honest and say that it is a very nice mould, but it's not a mould that I perhaps would have liked to have gotten a second rerun out of. The articulation is exactly the same, going through transformation incredibly quickly. You just want to pull this section here at the back, bring the robot mode head backwards. We can then take the chest piece, fold the Draco Rex head sculpt out, and then here for the shoulders, you just want to bring these sections in, which are incredibly stiff, even tighter than on the original version. So just pull those forwards. We can then angle the legs accordingly, collapse the ribcage in, take the very radioactive tail and put that back in, and there we've got Dracodon in his Draco Rex alt mode. So you can see exactly the same as what we got with Vertebrake, this time of course just done in that green. Really nice spinal detailing, nice detail there for the ribs, as well as a nice golden highlight here for the head. But for those who were not a fan of the Vertebrake in Wave 1, then this guy is certainly going to be an easy pass, and to be honest, I do not think the colour scheme is particularly great at all. But taking a look at the main event himself, here we've got the Core Class Soundwave, and I've got to be honest and say that once again it's another really good figure, especially for that $10 price point. They really are doing a remarkable job here. You can see that we literally have all of the amazing design cues from G1 Soundwave immortalized in a much smaller scale when in comparison to what we saw with Siege and the Netflix figure. Some awesome detailing and paint there for the head. Even the concussion blaster has got all of those individual bullets painted in a really awesome red, which is just such a nice attention to detail. You can see here for the shoulders, sculpted and painted beautifully well. Here for the torso region, the golden highlight around the actual cassette deck, the Decepticon insignia. They literally went all out on this figure, no expense was spared. Here we've got the cassette buttons, turning our attention down to the lower section. Everything on Soundwave is painted, and as we spin around here to the back, not many hollow spaces considering this is a core class. They have in fact completely detailed this, which is excellent to see. A really well done release. As far as articulation is concerned, Soundwave does have a ball joint here at the head, so this can look left to right as well as up and down due to transformation. The arms too are on ball joints, as so are the elbows, so you can rotate this and that almost acts as the bicep swivel. Only a hinge joint here for the wrist due to transformation, no waist rotation. However, the skirt piece can hinge out of the way in order to accommodate for the legs kicking forwards. We can also kick those back, but they are slightly restricted due to this butt flap. They can hinge out to the sides, full rotation here at the thigh, 90 there at the knee, and then finally we also do get a ball joint here for the foot, but it is slightly compromised due to the blocky nature here of the legs. I would have loved to have gotten perhaps a slightly different alternate sculpted hand here for this side. If they could have perhaps sculpted in the finger looking as if that was actually going to press the button here, that would have been awesome, but the articulation probably wouldn't have allowed you to actually get that anywhere near this. And then we turn to Soundwave's accessories. So this was also an area which very pleasantly surprised me. So we've got the shoulder cannon there on the top, as well as this blaster which has been sculpted and painted as well super nicely. But if you actually take the cassette deck, deploy this, it will in fact reveal a non-transforming cassette, which is of course supposed to be Laserbeak, and the paintwork on this too has turned out so nicely. Honestly, I'm really surprised at how well this figure did turn out. You can see even here on the back we've got some nice sculpt work completely picked out in a glossy black, and we've got some awesome silver and red detailings in there, and they've also actually sculpted the interior here of the cassette deck, which I just think is so cool. He may in fact actually be my favourite core class figure that we've gotten out of this G1 range so far. As far as comparisons go, here we have Soundwave compared next to some of the other core class Decepticons, Starscream and Megatron, and I actually think all three of these scale really well with one another. Just taking Megatron here out of the equation to show you the comparison there between Optimus Prime, I also think this too is a scale that is excellent, and all of these figures, considering their scale, are so well detailed and are pretty decently articulated and engineered. As mentioned, this is really a line that I hope we can see going forward after the War for Cybertron trilogy, as I think these figures are probably one of the best ideas to come out of the trilogy so far, and I'm really hoping to see the likes of Shockwave and just some of those more essential G1 characters introduced later down the line. So, transformation for Soundwave to begin with, you're going to want to remove both of his accessories. and just set them here off to the side. We can take the head sculpt, rotate this so that the front is facing the back, and then just collapse it into this hollow cavity. You're then going to want to take the wrists, fold those into the back of the arms, and then what we can do is take this hinge joint at the shoulder, which I guess could almost act as a faux butterfly joint, and bring this all the way to the back. And you can see we've got some slots on the inside of the arms that will peg onto the tabs on Soundwave's butt. So just snap that into place, and of course repeat the exact same process here on this side. You'll then want to rotate here at the thigh so that the silver sections are facing forwards, bend here at the knee, basically snapping Soundwave's knee joint, and then you can see we've got a tab that will peg into a slot there on the shin. So just snap that section into place, and of course repeat the same process. Now officially the transformation shows you actually transforming the feet so that they are pointing upwards, which I personally don't think looks the best, despite it revealing some nice detailing. I do not like these almost batties that we get, so I do like to mistransform them and just compress them. I think that creates a slightly more realistic look, but for the purposes of this review I will show the accurate conversion. We can then take the accessories here, and you can see some slots on the back that these will all peg into. And with all that being said, here we've got Soundwave fully transformed up into his cassette player alt mode, and looking once again pretty decent considering the scale as well as the price point. This figure's been detailed really nicely, but you could definitely see the cassette player mode was the mode that they had to sacrifice in really nailing the look of the bot mode, but I don't think it looks too bad at all. You can once again see those same cassette player buttons that we got in bot mode, all picked out of a nice silver. Really nice silver here for these sections, as well as the yellow stripes, and you can even see, as mentioned before, we've got some nice detailing on the base of the feet, which is something that they just didn't have to include. Just to very quickly show you how the actual cassette deck looks deployed, you can see you can hinge that all the way down, remove Laserbeak if you were so inclined to do so, and I am actually hoping that we do get a repaint of this guy in the form of Sound Blaster, and perhaps that guy can come with a repainted version of Laserbeak into Ravage or Buzzsaw. Just taking a look here at the back, you can see how he cleans up really nicely. Such a fantastic small pocket-sized figure, and as mentioned, definitely one of my favourite in the line. And so that was my review for Transformers Kingdom, Core Class Soundwave and Dracodon. Overall, I think Dracodon is probably the weakest out of the entire Core Class lineup so far, just considering that he is just essentially a very lazy repaint and is a spot that could have been easily filled by the likes of a Core Class Shockwave. Soundwave, I think, as mentioned, is my favourite out of the line so far. They literally did not skimp out on any details nor paint on this figure, and for the scale and the budget, I really do think they've done an exceptional job. The articulation, once again, is pretty decent for the scale. I think he comes with a great range of accessories, much more than any of the other figures, such as 2 blasters, as well as that really awesomely detailed Laserbeak cassette. I think the transformation is very simplistic and fun, however incredibly effective, and despite the cassette player mode undoubtedly being the mode that was sacrificed in order to give us such an awesome robot mode, I still do also think it's turned out pretty decent. So overall, Core Class Soundwave definitely gets a high recommendation for me. As for Dracodon, if your heart's really set to pick him up, then I would definitely recommend waiting for clearance, as this figure will no doubt be the shelf warmer out of the whole Core Class lineup so far. I really hope that we can see more of these figures in the future, and I would love to know down in the comment section below, out of all of the figures we've gotten released so far for Core Class, who is your personal favourite, and which characters are you hoping they do create in the future. I thank you all so much for watching, and until my next review, I'll see you then. Thanks for watching.